Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video, and it's a very sunny Friday morning here in Northern England, the 16th of May. So today I'm continuing the coverage of the missing siblings, 6-year-old Lilly and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan from Lansdowne Station, Pictou County, Nova Scotia in Canada. And sadly, it's another milestone, 2 weeks. 2 weeks today, they went missing. Or at least they were reported missing by the mother, Malia Brooks Murray, around 10 a.m. on the 2nd of May. Dispatch audio says that they were last seen at 8 a.m.
Has it been gone a long time? 0800.
I find it concerning, worrying, disturbing even, that came over the dispatch audio, and they appear to have been missing for 2 hours, rather than the 20 minutes that their stepfather, Daniel Martel, said. I find that problematic. So, in this video, I'm going to just go through a couple of news pieces which have come up with interesting opinions. So, there's nothing new in the investigation from the RCMP, so if that's what you're here for, sorry, but please do stay and listen, because I thought this was really interesting from CTV News. The search for Lilly and Jack Sullivan continues in Pictou County, Nova Scotia. They've interviewed a former homicide investigator, someone called Steve Ryan, who has been following the case closely and believes the lack of witnesses is likely presenting a major obstacle. So I looked up Steve Ryan. Not that I don't believe CTV, but, don't believe anybody. But he's a real guy, and actually, he's an ex-homicide detective. So not just an investigator, but a detective. And he worked in Toronto's homicide squad for over a decade. And he's even written a book, The Ghosts That Haunt Me, Memories of a Homicide Detective. After years working in homicide, retired Toronto detective Steve Ryan reflects on 6 cases he will never forget. So he's a real guy, and he's been following this case. So he says here, the story that the mom and the stepdad have provided to the police was that they woke up and the kids were gone. Daniel claims to have been awake and the kids were gone. He claims to have seen Lilly coming in the room a couple of times and dozing in and out of sleep, I guess. And then 20 minutes after they were last heard, they went looking for them. Daniel drove around and about everywhere while Malia rang the police. Again though, were they missing for 2 hours before any of that happened? Because why would the dispatch audio say they were last seen at 8 a.m? There's a massive mismatch there. Okay, so, given that there's no witnesses to what happened, that leaves a very gaping hole in this investigation. After almost a week of searching more than 6 square kilometres, we heard from RCMP the other day that they'd searched 5.5 square kilometres, which is 3.4 square miles, and if you take the radius from that area, they actually only searched just over a mile radius, but they concentrated more to the west. So I think they went further than that to the west and probably less than a mile in other directions. So it wasn't a perfect circle. So they did 6 days, and then the RCMP called back the 160 ground search and rescue workers. The active search efforts to locate Lilly and Jack has been scaled back, said Staff Sergeant Curtis McKinnon on May 7th. We know all this, don't we? Ryan said the search may have been scaled back, but a multi-layered investigation is still active. Well, absolutely it is. We know it is. That investigation would have started straight away. The Major Crimes Unit got involved on Saturday, so just a day after they went missing. Apparently, the Major Crimes Unit gets involved in all missing kid cases in Canada, so it's not unusual. If a kid's missing more than a day, you're looking potentially at a crime. There's an awful lot going on behind the scenes around the clock while the police look for these 2 children or try to see if there was foul play, I assume that means, involved in any way. In addition to suspected foul play, kidnapping has not been ruled out. The worst case scenario is that they're deceased, and if they are deceased, they need to be recovered, said CTV News Public Safety Analyst Chris Lewis. We need to determine if there's some criminal act that occurred. Yes, this is what I've been saying. I think the search was scaled back too soon. Now, I know that there's massive funding implications, huge search effort, and the idea is, throw everything at it to try to recover them alive. But once they're deceased, there's not that urgency, is there? My issue with this kind of investigation, I said it was Sebastian Rogers. I said it was Summer Wells back in the day. Now, they searched for a full 13 days for Summer. Similar terrain to this, really difficult terrain there in northeast Tennessee. But if they're deceased, they need to be recovered, not just for closure for the family and the community, but also for the investigation. Like, they need to be recovered as soon as possible. I'm sorry to be graphic, but the longer the bodies are out there, the more decomposition there's going to be, the more likelihood that there's going to be scavenging animals that will just obliterate any chance of getting a reliable cause and manner of death. So, I don't know. I guess it's like looking for a needle in a haystack, and they do have to take into account the funding problems, and they've got other cases. But still, in an ideal world, According to Ryan, missing persons cases are traumatising for any community, especially a small, close-knit area like Lansdowne Station, Nova Scotia. Everybody is a suspect, said Ryan. You've got a small community, and they're all peering out of the window, looking at vehicles driving by, and wondering if this could be the person that took these two children. And they want to know what happened to these two children. Of course they do. I think suspect's probably a bit strong. But everybody's definitely a person of interest. The major suspects would be the people who saw Lilly and Jack last. The adults on the property. And there's 4 adults on the property. At least there were, before Malia was kicked off. But you got Malia Daniel sharing the trailer, and then over the backyard there, you've got Daniel's mother and his brother. And I know a lot of people suspect the brother. I don't know anything about him. I don't talk about his mother and brother because I just don't know anything about them. Not that anything that's reliable anyway. They've not spoken out, so there's that. And look, I'm not saying anybody did anything to Lilly and Jack, but RCMP have done 35 formal interviews, according to their update the other day, and they do that for a reason. 35 formal interviews. That's a lot in 2 weeks. So the longer the Sullivan children remain missing, Ryan said, the more residents from the area can be deeply affected, but can take comfort in knowing the RCMP investigation is ongoing. Yeah, they've had 180 tips. So hopefully one of those tips leads to answers. But if there is a crime, it might be a long wait. This news piece, I'm not going to read it word for word, but I just want to have a quick discussion about this. This is from Global News. How posting theories about 2 missing kids in Nova Scotia online could land you in legal trouble. Now look, I don't know what the legal system is like in Canada. In the United States, you've got the Constitution, you've got the First Amendment, you've got a right to freedom of speech. But what you don't have is a right to harass anybody. So it's a fine line, right? Express your opinion, but harassing people, cyber-bullying people, that crosses that line, doesn't it? As has been the massive hullabaloo that's gone on in the Sebastian Rogers case over the last few months. But a Canadian lawyer said there could be legal implications for those posting unsubstantiated theories online about Lilly and Jack. Posts have been circulating on social media speculating what happened to Lilly and Jack. And as we know, the RCMP previously said the siblings were believed to have wandered away. But that in itself is a theory. No one knows. That in itself is a theory. The case has garnered worldwide interest and a hunger from the public for answers. Some posts online include blaming the parents and suggesting they had something to do with their disappearance, pitting the parents against each other, claiming the children are alive, amongst other theories. Look, we were all hoping that Lilly and Jack are alive. Best case scenario, you know, they're with someone who's looking after them. Look, speculation itself is not a problem. The issue that's going to land you in legal trouble, and again, I don't know the legal system in Canada, but the issue is harassment. The issue is stalking, cyberbullying, that kind of stuff. Expressing an opinion, though, which is based on fact, not just speculating based on the facts we know, saying, well, we know this, could this have happened? We also know this, could this have happened? Developing a theory about what might have happened. Based on fact, you're entitled to your opinion. What is problematic, though, is out-and-out lies. Now, I don't know where the law lies here, but out-and-out lies. Things like saying that Lilly and Jack have been found, that the trailer has been dismantled, that there's been arrests. Those kind of things are blatantly untrue. There's no evidence of any of that at all. The RCMP were looking around the trailer, I think under the trailer. There's no arrests made, and Lilly and Jack certainly have not been found. But Alison Harris, a lawyer in Halifax, Nova Scotia, not Halifax, England, for my UK viewers, says she sees similarities in terms of online rumours and accusations in comparison to the parents of a missing toddler she represented a few years ago. Harris was involved in the case of 3-year-old Dylan Eela, who went missing from Truro, Nova Scotia, so not too far away from here, whose parents took legal action over online harassment in the disappearance of their son in 2020. Parents said within hours of their son going missing, they were met with an onslaught of cyberbullying and harassment. According to the family, Dylan was playing in the backyard with his grandmother. She turned her back to put the dog on a leash and Dylan vanished. Dylan was presumed to have fallen into nearby Leper Brook and drowned. His body has never been found. Harris said it's becoming increasingly difficult with Facebook's inability to post or show links to news articles from credible media organisation. You can post links on Facebook. What's she talking about? Of course you can. Watch. Okay, this is my Facebook group. If anybody wants to join my Facebook group, we've got 8.5k members. The link is in the description. You have to answer some questions to get in. If I write something here, and then there you go. I'm not going to post it, but there you go. What's she talking about? Everyone's posting screenshots, but now you can't actually trust whether the screenshot is accurate or not anymore. She's wrong. She's out and out wrong. She's wrong. She also said misinformation and rumours can impact the police investigation because investigators have to follow up on every lead. That's true as well. So ringing the RCMP saying something that you saw on social media or saying that you've got a theory, no. That's insane, and I know people try to help. I get it, but no, please don't. Police have not released a lot of information on their leads or definitively confirm if any foul play is suspected in the disappearance of Jack and Lilly. Rightly so, the police can't give us a whole lot of information at this point. Tends to foster rumours online. It does. Rely on trusted sources. You might say, well, we can't rely on the mainstream media to be a trusted source. I think the media in this case, they've been following the case factually. But believing TikTok rumours that Jack and Lilly have been found, no, please don't. You know, if you see something like that, then check it out before sharing it. Simple as that. So you're not going to get into legal trouble. And I know some people are worried about this. Jack and Lilly's Facebook group. I had the link in the description box of all my videos, but I've taken the link down now because apparently they've made the group private and they're not accepting new members for the moment, so I've taken it off. But I'm in that group and I've seen that people are concerned about this and are they going to get into trouble? And no, you're not going to get into trouble. We're oppressing an opinion. But you will get into trouble if you harass people, stalk people, cyberbully people, send people nasty messages. And expressing an opinion, no. Anyhow, it's a very difficult situation, isn't it? But you can talk about the case, you can theorise about the case, but you can do it in a respectful manner. And I hope that the videos I've been putting out, on my opinion, are respectful. Alright guys, let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys. Find it. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl.